Well, everybody will remember the old iconic railway in Mahara with its old photographs and postcards and long stories and bits of dramas that people would have told you. Um, the next piece of poetry, the Mahara Railway Line, is basically titled because of the nostalgia involved. Um, my own family was involved in the railways in Northern Ireland, and I'm very proud of that fact. Now, Mahara, believe it or not, the first mention of it was in 1845, and that was brought about during a meeting in the town. Chairing it was James J. Clark from the Clark family of Mahara, and it was basically to send a representative at that time to the both houses of Parliament to get a motion passed so that we could have a railway through the town. From there, it started to move forward. In I think it was the late 1880s or late 1870s, a newspaper article mentioned that the Mahara Railway Line was almost complete and had 400 people employed on both sides of the railway, either side of the town, completing it. And then it opened. Unfortunately, there were a few incidents. There was a serious accident in the late 1880s, and also, I believe, a incident of assault too. There's many different old stories attached to it, and also many fond stories attached to it. The railway itself, unfortunately, in I believe it was 1950. Yes, 28th of August 1950, closed to passenger services, and another 9 years later closed to freight and trade, thus ending the Mahara Railway Line's existence. But of course not in our imaginations and hearts, of course. I give you the Mahara Railway Line. With the steam engine long gone out of service, and the railway tracks now a distant past, with photos, old tickets and ghosts, it's a pity this giant didn't last. And the hedgerows and bridges are many, now bereft of the steam and leading wheel, running over the track, click-clack, click-clack, and the whistle blows loudly as the conductor walks up from the back. In Mahara, this lifeline is now but a distant past, as the motor car became more available. The old railway's days were numbered, and from that point, months were counting down fast. Many a small family will remember their writings from long ago, as they travelled along the hedgerows. The summer months were all aglow, and the farmers scything grass up along the tracks, and keeping an eye on the line, where this could be a dangerous pastime until the steam engine passed by on time. And the stations and gate lodges, with their masters and porters galore, to run the service well, had a community all their own and more, with a waiting room and office, and as well it was also a home, as they awaited the next train coming down on the Macfin route, slipping in just on time. The stone-cut bridges and their smoke-filled tunnels are a portion of what is left. Now modern roads with rail embankments and gates that once kept people safe from that track that once long ago went clink-clank, clink-clank, clink-clank. All that is left are the memories of this age of steam engines, romance and simplicity enshrined. Here, long ago, where they used to wait to travel at the Mahara Railway Line. Well, the next piece that is entitled Gallant Carntower. Well, of course, we all know that Carntower Mountain is located a couple of miles outside of Mahara on the Slaughtneil side. The mountain itself is just a treat of archaeological discoveries, monuments. It's absolutely
plied with old folklore, and its beauty is absolute, the only word to put it. I love this place. I have a personal connection to it. I probably think many people think the same. In this piece, which I've written, it's one of my personal favourites. There are connotations of different things in it. You will first, of course, notice that I have included the emigrant's cairn. There are references to the famine in it, the Great Famine. There are references to immigration itself, the ruggedness of the mountain, the sheer beauty of it, and also the archaeology. And of course, where would we be without folklore and myth? There is also that in Gallen Carn Toher, and I hope you enjoy it.
In a rugged place, black stones and loam nestled around your feet. I look up at my gallant Carn Toher. Her brazen runs the remit of rigs from a time of hunger that remembered her forefathers. Echoes of broken shoes tottering over the path with heartfelt pain. Over the snout into Derry's port to await a ship to a new life, and in their wake a single stone left behind with all the others, a memento of a time of suffering and strife. Her streams running at an ice-chilled pace, while frost straining out, glazing the ice in winter sounds, resounds through the path where once wagons passed, and strangers nodded and spoke or laughed. Turf also ferried this way from the bank at the summit. Burdened with its load, the donkey slowly makes its way down the mountain, destined for a lonely cottage snug on the corner of some patchwork quilt. Its view is simply beautiful. As I look down, the shale blue path snakes around the corner and out of sight. Granite from a nearby disused quarry glistens as it once did. Quartzite catches the light and spits fire not unlike a diamond, shimmering under a low sun. Channels cut from years of rain run with a flashing restraint. On her summit the ancient cairn sits witness to the ages, a mismatch of shapes that once sheltered a few shepherds, and its matted heather an abode of all manner of species and fauna, that unaware and unaffected by our woes, around that summit two small trees there lonely still grow, and they, at the mercy of the elements, stand remarkably on the eastern slope, a place forgotten to time and everyday life. The moonlit nights and this majestic place, with its ghosts and shadows for the history that is. Glenshane Crossa, who fooled the redcoats who gave chase and leapt out of reach, and on the old coach road you can still hear the old carriage at a distance. As the mountain speaks softly of sound, it carries over her fading silhouette, and rustles over the heather, stones and grass of her sides, to the shepherds who once kept watch on her summit 1,000 years ago. Your flock rests safely this night upon gallant Carn Toher.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to nearly to the end of our slideshow. I have only one more left to present. But before I do that, there's a few people I'd like to thank. Firstly, I would like to thank Mr. Bruce Clark, who agreed to write the foreword of my booklet. I would also like to thank Mrs. Betty McIreland, MBE, and numerous other people who helped me with the process of getting this off the ground. I would also like to thank Oro and Callum of Calvert Print in Draperstown for being very, very helpful and very good at what they do. Basically, the last piece is entitled A Patchwork Quilt, which of course is the name of the booklet. Now, The booklet itself is on sale for £5.95 and £1 per copy goes to the local health trust during this stressful time. That's, I suppose, my way of helping out. Well, I hope everybody enjoys it. Not everybody's cup of tea, but there are a lot of people who like poetry. The Patchwork quilt, the last piece, is basically about the forest out at Drumyaff. It's beautiful, lovely, lovely. Whenever you look out from it and you look up and see Carntor Mountain, you can actually make out the wee fields up the side of the mountain, and that's where the name comes from, the Patchwork quilt. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and here is the Patchwork quilt.
Shadowed ravines on a mountain brae, nestled gorges cut into the side where history has witnessed all her scars, as I stand watching from this old tree that I am leaning astride. Arch sweepers majestically line the way on taunt with nature's gall, and playfully weeping, pushed on by a friendly breeze on this trail, these meadow characters dancing in the low sun, and the prickly points of 1,000 spears growing wildly, and rushes spread all around, and a sea of green where nature's palette on an emerald canvas, and the beauty that I can see. A flowing stream runs on half-covered stones on pure mountain water. Gravel beds glisten, beckoning those with their jewelled allure, as I walk through the journeys barefooted, as the stream flows onwards on its journey. A red deer stands guard at the entrance, where all come and Drumyaff unlocks its wonders, as the oak leaves shimmer and flow here in this dairy forest, that reflect images long gone through a passage of time, where once the oak ruled all in her kingdom, and touched all hearts who dwelled under her canopy, and in vast meadow beds laying low where once Irish wolf packs haunted their prey and suckled their young. Now bluebells flow alight over the forest floor, and the echoes of the old gods can still be heard in a northern wind that has a way of rising the hair on your neck. Here in this enchanted place where deeply you can breathe, and nature's scars heal. The October heather burning with jaundice yellow, swaying all around a single beech tree in perpetual amber mirrored by a torrent sky of grey. Tracks and paths in this forest twist and turn with confused effect, leading here and there. October's early heat has a sweltered touch, and her four-legged friends scurry round. As I look up at Carntor, small fields I see, not unlike a patchwork quilt of all shapes and sizes running gently into her base, and traces of the old coach road I can just make out, running up the side of the mountain and out of sight, as the watcher takes in the beauty in the splendour of first light.